FSRealistic, the immersion enhancement add-on, is getting an update. Whilst that in itself doesn't justify a video, this update features an experimental new first-person mode, and it's so different to what we've seen before it's worth a look. The developers have kindly let me have early access of the update version 2.1.0 and it's due for release anytime now. In fact, it may already be out by the time you watch this video. If you're not familiar with what FSRealistic is and what it does, well, it's a fairly straightforward plugin that adds ambience and motion to your simulator, from cockpit vibration, enhanced sound effects, all the way through to screaming passengers if you want them. If you want to know more, check out these videos, links in the notes below. This is the SimHanger channel. My name's Mark. Thanks very much for watching, and let's get started. In essence, what it is a new camera mode. You can take the first person or third person perspective, depending on your preference, and you're free to roam. Perfect for carrying out that pre-flight check, or exploring your favorite airport in more detail. Effectively, you can jump into your avatar, you can hear your footsteps, and the sound varies depending on what surface you're walking on. Providing your aircraft is static, you can spawn outside any aircraft and go for a wander, using a combination of keys and the mouse for your movement and direction of view. Can be a little awkward at first, but you soon get used to it. I do need to mention that this is an experimental feature. It's not 100% implemented yet. If you like, it's in beta mode, but coming with the next update. We're at Aerosoft's Brussels International, that's the TUI hangar, and I've often wondered what's inside. Let's go for a quick look. You'll note I'm running. I think my avatar needs to lay off those biscuits for a little while, but as you can see, there's full sound effects and head movement. You will see with the movements some tearing and some flickering. This is a known issue. The developers are aware. Further development is planned, and there's some limitation due to the SKD in Microsoft Flight Simulator. Ah, there's a 737. Thank goodness, we better stop running before the avatar collapses. Sounds a bit like me going for a walk around the garden. In addition to the obvious exploring potential, I'm particularly interested in it from a pre-flight walk-around check. It's ideal for that. You can move up and down, you can crouch. I'm using keys on the keyboard for my movement and my mouse to look around. This aircraft is part of the scenery, so obviously not the highest resolution. We've staggered back to our A310, and if you're doing a check at night or just exploring an airport, it has another cool feature. Your avatar has a torch which is activated by a key press. You determine what key presses are required to initiate avatar mode and also for the torch. So be it day or night, you've got no excuses anymore not to do your pre-flight check. Other ambient sounds that you hear is that of your avatar breathing, and the level of the sounds can be adjusted as well. One limitation is there's no object detection, so very often you're able to walk through walls and so on. Once in avatar mode, providing your aircraft is static, you can wander far and wide. I'm not aware of any limitation in this regard. The sounds provided are basic but functional. Here I'm walking through the cabin, but I guess I must be wearing hobnail boots. You are able to vary the amount of movement and the speed at which you turn and look in various directions within the settings. Let's take a quick look at those now. I'm not going to run through all the amazing sound settings that are available within FSRealistic. Please check out my previous video for full details. In terms of settings overall, they're pretty much the same as they were, with direct links to their forum and the manual, but the one we're most interested is the Avatar tab, which is new. This is where you can set a keystroke to toggle the avatar mode on and off, as well as the flashlight, and manage the camera movements and mouse sensitivity. There's a summary of the movement keys at the bottom of this tab. I mentioned earlier it was first and third person perspective. Our avatar is now visible, and you have a wide selection of default avatars that match those that are available by default in the sim. The avatar movement is limited, with their hands stretched out wide, probably indicating how big the last update, SimUpdate 11, was in Microsoft Flight Simulator. Or something big anyway. But as mentioned before, this is experimental, considerably more work required on the avatar, no doubt, particularly when changing your view and getting a different perspective. It can be quite awkward. But it's a good innovation as a first step and hopefully the promise of better things to come. Personally, I prefer the first-person perspective by far. The avatar mode features elevation detection, but it is slow and somewhat clumsy. But I suspect this is more a limitation of the SKD rather than the programming itself. You can simply hold down one of the mouse keys and use the mouse wheel, and that will raise you up as well. The avatar mode does give you the option to explore interesting areas. So that's our pre-release preview of the new feature coming in the next update of FSRealistic. This is an add-on I use on a very regular basis, and especially when I'm flying for myself. It just makes the whole world feel more alive. This new first-person mode is not perfect. There's many limitations, and it doesn't work well at all with tail draggers, as it tends to lift the tail up. But it is experimental with the promise of more to come. Thank you very much for joining me today. I hope you found it useful and interesting. Stay well, look after yourselves. I'll see you all again very soon, and bye-bye for now.